Three action items. We want to approve the July 16th, 2025 minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Good. Okay. So we'll move on to informational items. PSTA service contractor updates. As we discussed at the budget workshop we held in the spring, PSTA contracts out a large amount of its services. So today we will hear from two of our contracted partners, Jolly Trolley and Transday, to go over their service and their work for PSTA. James Brantford, PSTA's Chief Operating Officer, will introduce Jolly Trolley, then Transday. James?
All right, good morning. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone, and good morning to all of our board members, PSTA and Jolly Trolley. As mentioned, I'm James Bradford, Chief Operating Officer with PSTA. So I'm going to be very quick because we have some great presentations here for you today. So I just want to do some introductions. You may recall last May 30th, PSA held its second PSA budget board workshop here in this room. And Al Burns and myself stationed a table entitled Smart Contracting. And essentially, we were just trying to explain some of the many different contracts that PSA has and the value that they bring and the efficiency and the protections that they bring to PSTA and also illustrate some of the cost savings. During that session, we did talk to you a little bit about what Transdev does and what Jolly Trolley does and the great work that they do for us. And you all had expressed an interest then in hearing a little bit more from our contractors themselves. And so we brought them in today, and they will give you a little bit about their background, their history, their overall organization. They'll talk a little bit about the contract that they have with PSTA and how they operate and the value that they bring to PSTA as well. So I do want to introduce the teams to you all because they spent, and some folks have flown in as late as last night through connecting flights to get here. So I do want to recognize that. First up is going to be the Jolly Trolley team, and I do just want to recognize their esteemed Jolly Trolley board members, Mr. Bob Clifford and Ms. Carol Kay. Thank you for being here. And then the presentation will be performed by Clearwater's COO, Mr. Ron Greenfield, and then he has an amazing team that he brought with him, Mr. Bob Cameron, the senior administrator for Clearwater, and Ms. Grace Sand, also lead administrator for Clearwater Ferry. I'm sorry, Clearwater. All these Clearwaters, I'm sorry. I need more coffee. Jolly Trolley, and then their CFO, Mr. Robert Arnold. And here, fresh off the plane, almost, is the Transdev team. One of Transdev's senior vice presidents, Mr. Derek Browen, their senior director of marketing, Ms. Christina Russell, and then our boots on the ground, our local general manager of Transdev, overseeing PSA access. Without further ado, Mr. Tom Tibbetts. Okay, all that's out of my head. So, I didn't bring a script with me, Lucian. I just tried to memorize all this. So let's go ahead and bring up the Jolly Trolley team first. And thank you very much. And you'll have a beautiful slide deck to present. And then afterwards, I'll just, you can control your own slides. Do I have the right one? This is fancy. I haven't seen this one before. Okay. Oh, the right and left. Okay. And then after that, I'll have you pass it on to the Transdev team. And we'll take, we'll do 10 minutes each, and then we'll take questions afterwards.
All right, good morning. My name is Rod Greenfield. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Jolly Trolley Transportation in Clearwater. First, I'd like to thank PSTA and the Planning Committee for the opportunity to speak with you today. A little information about Jolly Trolley. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit company. We employ a total of 49 people. We have a fleet of 27 trolleys. 14 of those trolleys are dedicated to route service. A little history about Jolly Trolley. Jolly Trolley was officially started in 1982. It was founded by Joseph Greenwald. The distinctive red and yellow trolleys were started as a way to relieve traffic congestion down on Clearwater Beach. In 1993, Jolly Trolley became a not-for-profit company. We are controlled by a board of directors. And then in 2021, Jolly Trolley signed a 10-year contract with PSTA that started in fiscal year 2022. We are currently in year 3 of that contract. A little bit about the staff of Jolly Trolley. Jolly Trolley employs 17 staff members that work in 4 different categories. Those categories are operations, maintenance, administration, and finance. Many of our staff have multiple jobs that they are required to handle. Even though they may have one title, generally everybody in the management position handles multiple jobs. This tree kind of lets you know how Jolly Trolley is staffed. As I stated, Jolly Trolley is controlled by a board of directors. The board is currently headed up by our chair of the board, Bob Clifford, who, as James stated, is here with us today. Jolly Trolley's facilities. Jolly Trolley currently works out of 3 different locations in Clearwater: the administration office, the mechanic shop, and the trolley storage yard, which we refer to as our bullpen. The bullpen and the mechanic shop are across the street from each other. All right. A little bit about the contract information. As I stated earlier, we are in year 3 of a 10-year contract. That contract requires us to run 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The trolleys start as early as 8:15 in the morning and run to as late as 1:15 a.m. on the weekends. The routes include 1 North Beach route, 2 South Beach routes, and 3 coastal routes. Here's a map of the North Beach route. It runs from Island Estates up to North Clearwater Beach on a continuous loop. It starts at 9:41 a.m. and runs to 11:52 p.m. on the weekends. Here's a map of our South Beach route. The South Beach route runs from Park Street in downtown Clearwater down to Bay Park in Sand Key, passing through the South Clearwater Beach on a continuous loop. It starts at 9:45 a.m. and runs to 11:48 p.m. on weekends. And then here's a map of our coastal route. The coastal route runs from Clearwater Beach north to Tarpon Springs. It includes stops in Clearwater Beach, downtown Clearwater, Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Tarpon Springs, and ending at the Sponge Docks. That route starts at 8:15 in the morning and runs till 1:15 a.m. on the weekends. Here's a little snapshot of our ridership over the last 3 years. The ridership for fiscal year 2024 was over 345,000 passengers. And it also included a total of over 395,000 miles driven by the trolleys. A little bit of information about the contract. The contract provides for fixed funding and variable funding. The fixed funding provides for facilities, administrative costs, operating costs, maintenance costs, and new trolley costs. The variable funding provides for the cost of the revenue hours for drivers. If you look at your packets that we gave you on pages 1 and 2, it will give you a full breakdown of the fixed funding and the variable funding. And again, we're in year 3 of that contract. Trolley purchase requirements. Over the life of the contract, Jolly Trolley is required to purchase 13 new trolleys to keep the fleet updated. In your packet on page 3, it breaks down how many trolleys we have to purchase and when we have to purchase them each fiscal year. Currently, there's only one company in the U.S. that are making trolleys right now, and that is Hometown Trolley out of Wisconsin. The trolleys that they are producing right now are gas-powered trolleys. They are not producing diesel anymore, and they do produce electric, but they've only produced 12 electric trolleys, and those trolleys come at a cost of over $500,000. We currently have 9 diesel and 5 gas trolleys in our route service. But we also have 3 brand new trolleys that have been ordered, and 2 of them will be delivered to us next month. Some key benefits to PSTA. Jolly Trolley's longstanding history in Clearwater Beach and the coastal communities. Our fleet of 14 vintage style trolleys, which were designed to resemble early 1900 trolleys, have become an iconic part of the visitor experience in Clearwater Beach. Our trolley size allows navigation to some of the narrow routes that are not friendly to bus-size units. Our smaller team of drivers means a more personalized service. Our staff gets to know many of our regular riders and are able to provide a level of customer service that is friendly, familiar, and consistent. And then our hurricane preparation. Due to the location of where our bullpen is, we do not have to move our fleet of trolleys for storms. That means all of our trolleys are ready to help at a moment's notice, either prior to or after a storm. The reason for that is that bullpen location is in a non-flood zone, non-evac zone. We assisted PSTA in transporting passengers to rescue shelters prior to and after last year's hurricanes. Some of our drivers were recognized for their service. Some additional benefits to PSTA. The ability to add additional trolleys to route service for events like spring break. Our bullpen and shop locations allow us to quickly manage trolley issues while en route so that there is minimal disruption to these routes. The ability for our trolleys to go off route for personal service, places like the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Our flag stop policy. Our flag stop policy allows us to stop anywhere along any route that a passenger asks, as long as it's at a safe location. And due to the proximity of the bullpen, we have very little deadhead to start and end our routes. This map right here shows you where each of our routes start and how far they are from our bullpen. If you see the green dot in Island Estates, that is where our North Beach and our DT4 coastal route start. That's only 3 miles from our bullpen location. You see the yellow dot in downtown Clearwater there, that's the Park Street Terminal. That location is only 0.9 miles from our bullpen. And then you'll see the blue dot at Drew and Myrtle. That is only a half mile from our bullpen, and that's where that route starts. That's for the DT3 and DT5 coastal routes. Some cost savings to PSTA related to drivers. Drivers' wages are controlled by the contract that Jolly Trolley agreed to. Our drivers are non-union. If you look back at page 2 of your packet, it has the PSTA variable contract rate for cost per revenue hour per driver for service. That rate includes fringe benefits given to our drivers. Jolly Trolley pays its drivers $22 per hour. Our driver's experience is 10 years or more on average. Our insurance company requires that our drivers have 2 years of CDL with passenger endorsement. If you look at page 4 of your packet, it shows the average pay rate of a PSTA driver with 4 years of experience compared to the pay rate of a Jolly Trolley driver with the same experience. Contracting with Jolly Trolley benefits PSTA by reducing the overall cost related to driver compensation. Some cost savings related to billable hours. So if you look at pages 5 and 6 of your packets, it gives you the billable hours for fiscal year 25 per month and a comparison with the June 25 invoice with actual driver's hours. The reason for the difference in billable hours and actual hours is the billable hours gives us the scheduled start of the route times. It does not include pre-trip inspection, deadhead, or any other extenuating circumstances that our drivers may run into. Some cost savings related to vehicle purchasing. Here's an example of what a bus or a Suncoast Beach trolley costs in comparison to a new trolley. As you can see, the trolley's costs are significantly lower. And then some cost savings to PSTA related to staffing. We do not have standby drivers. We use our director of maintenance and our 2 trolley shifters, which are both CDL, or all 3 are CDL with passenger endorsed drivers, as our backup drivers. We also employ part-time drivers that can be called and will respond immediately if needed. We employ only 2 full-time mechanics that handle the fleet of 27 trolleys. All management personnel handle multiple duties for the company. Our daytime dispatch is handled by our operations team and our admin team, although we do employ a nighttime dispatcher. Our management staff rotate on-call supervision duties on weekends and respond if needed as field supervisors. So looking ahead, Jolly Trolley is always open to future opportunities working with PSTA. We already assist PSTA with additional routes when requested, whether that's spring break or Blue Jays baseball. Coastal route expansion has been talked about in the past. Currently, the coastal route has a 1-hour separation between trolleys. There have been conversations about 30-minute separations. And then finally, we have a lot of passengers that have been coming to us asking about combining the North and South Beach routes. That's probably something that we need to talk about in the future. Beyond that, Jolly Trolley would be open to any and all future opportunities with PSTA. We look forward to a long and prosperous partnership with PSTA, and I want to thank PSTA for all their assistance. Thank you for your time today. Questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So if you combine, right now, the North and the South Beach, if you're on North Beach route, you want to take the South Beach, do you go to Publix? Is that where the?
Well, so the transfers generally now happen either at Transit Center or at Pier 60.
Oh,
Pier 60 just kind of got put into play recently because they changed that roundabout not too long ago, and our trolleys cannot change lanes in the roundabout anymore. So now it forces the North Beach trolley to go past Pier 60, which we have now created as a stopping location for them, before they can circle around the hotel to get back over to Marina.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Are there any other questions from board members? All right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
First of all, good morning and thank you so much for the presentation. And I think I was one of the main reasons why we're here today. So I thank you for coming. I think when we had the budget workshop, one of the main questions I had was understanding what the services of Jolly Trolley really were and what were the benefits. And you've done a great job of explaining that for me, but I do have a couple of questions that are not extensive. But one of the first ones that I have is the personalized requests. Are those the current fleet that are in circulation being used, or are those extra fleet?
No, so that is the current route trolleys, and what the personalized request is, any trolley that is at Park Street heading towards the beach, or from the beach heading back towards Park Street, if they're requested to go to the Clearwater Marine Aquarium, we circle off of route to circle, drop people off at the aquarium, and then continue on route.
Okay. Okay, so you don't have on-call drivers, so if you're understaffed, because it seems like you're doing a great job with your personnel, how do you fill those gaps if you don't have on-call drivers?
So those are filled by both, by Director of Maintenance, and then I have 2 trolley shifters that are also CDL passenger endorsed drivers. So if I have an example of a driver calling off at the last second on me, one of those 3 people will fill into that slot until we can get a backup driver in to take it.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that. And then the last question that I had was in regards to salaries. So since you have so many staff that are cross-trained, have you run into any issues with a higher paid staff working extensive hours for a position that required lower
Well,
rates?
so with our company, there's only 3 salaried employees in our
Just 3,
company.
okay.
Yeah, everybody else is hourly. So if we do run into the case where they're running over, they obviously get their overtime if it's something that they had to do.
Okay, everybody else is hourly,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate the presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions?
I do, sorry. From a prior meeting, I was looking at our ridership numbers. It looks like Jolly Trolley ridership is down compared to this time last year. What do you attribute that to?
Well, actually, I think on our slide, I think we were actually like up about 1,000 or something like that.
Is Devin in the room? Because that ridership report showed,
That's the ridership report that we had sent. So I don't know what he might have that might be slightly different.
And this is for 24 versus 25, what's up on the chart here?
Correct.
let's see. Okay, yeah, so we're looking at 25 versus 2024 on the ridership report that Devin had us, and it showed that ridership was down. But if you don't have
His
those
goes
numbers,
to
that's fine.
24 there. He
Yeah.
goes 22, 23, 24, and then this is 25.
So in 2025, ridership is down compared to 2024.
Yeah, it's down a little bit. Yeah, 7% year to date.
But for the Jolly Trolley, it was like 10% and 25%. If I was looking at the right slide.
I'm looking at the finance committee, ridership Devin's report there.
Yeah, that second page that has ridership by route.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's from hotels being closed from the storm still, or if
So
you know, if you don't know,
We
that's.
definitely had a downturn after the hurricanes, 100% we did on that. To what extent, I couldn't tell you exactly if that's the full reason why.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And we're going to allow the planning committee some more time as well after the TransDev. So if you think of some more questions, Jolly Trolley will still be here as well. So welcome, TransDev.
Thank you. Let me just fast forward a little bit.
Go to the end. Go forward.
This one?
Yeah.
Yep. Here we
Yeah,
are.
there you go.
Here we are.
I'm sorry, I should have said that.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Well, good morning, and thank you again for the opportunity to be here today to talk to you a little bit about TransDev and our partnership with you. My name is Christina Russell. I'm our Senior Director of Business Development for TransDev, supporting contracts across the country, and I'd give a second for our colleagues to introduce themselves.
Derek Bruin, I'm a Senior Vice President. I've been with TransDev for 20 years.
Tom Tibbetts, General Manager for TransDev in Pinellas County. Sorry for my voice, too many karaoke songs last night.
All right, so I have the opportunity to kick off the presentation this morning to tell you a little bit about TransDev US. TransDev's been operating in the United States for over 100 years, and today we operate in 48 different states. The majority of our customers are transit agencies and municipalities, not unlike PSTA. We have 32,000 US employees, and we call them team members. They are primarily the bus operators and maintenance technicians on the ground in communities that we serve. And we pride ourselves really on being a seamless extension of our customers in the different communities across the country. Stepping back for a moment though, TransDev is actually a global company. So TransDev, while we have a large presence in the United States, also operates in 20 different countries around the world. And the reason that I bring that up is not really to brag about our size, but really to talk more about the different best practices and expertise and experience that we do bring to our customers. And we have had a few examples of that here locally, such as bringing in corporate support to assist with the Spera Labs scheduling software implementation for the access services. And then I know Derek was also going to share one with you next.
Yeah, and so it's not just as simple as being a US company. We are truly global. And I do have good working relationships with our partners in Sweden and Australia, France, the Netherlands. And we have been able to bring some of that support here and talking to some execs when it comes to some of the newer things that we're doing throughout the world. So it's not just a national company, it's truly a global company. This gives you a little idea of our presence in Florida. The two red dots are fixed route services, and then we have our three large paratransit services, which is PSTA, Lynx, and West Palm. The little pink one in the middle, that is a rail project that we have, maintenance of way. So we do a lot of streetcar work as well as maintenance of way for rail projects. The two green ones are autonomous vehicle projects that we have. And then all the rest of the blue ones are specific maintenance projects that we have. So we do a lot of municipal maintenance projects all across the state. This is really important. If, say, Tom has an issue with a specific part, there's a long lead time, he can reach out to his partners at Lynx or West Palm. If they have that part, we can get it over to him quickly. And then obviously, I'm a New Orleans native myself. I know a little bit about hurricanes, been through a few of them in my 52 years living in New Orleans. So obviously, we deal with hurricanes all the time. So every time there's a hurricane, either in the Gulf or in the Atlantic, the three groups of Lynx, West Palm, and PSTA, as well as Panama City, we get together, we have a call, who's in the cone, and we set it up so that one or two of the other properties will actually set up a box truck with water, food, generators, anything that may be needed in that community. And we make sure that each of the locations has a satellite phone. As we all know, communication gets really funky after a storm. Next. So this gives you a little breakdown, and we're getting a little more localized. Obviously, the main service that we provide is your ADA door-to-door service. We've been doing it for 6 years now. It's a 10-year contract. We do it with 63 vehicles that we own. And then we lease a facility. Great thing about the facility is it's a little large, so we have the ability to expand, which has been useful with the next 3 bullet points. So they'll hit a little capacity issue on your MOD service, so we were able to buy 4 additional vehicles, provide some additional capacity to y'all, and we're still running that project as well. Y'all are shifting one of your fixture out, 814, and you didn't want to sort of create a transit desert in that little area, so we were able to procure 1 additional vehicle and provide some demand response service in that corridor. And then lastly, the thing that seems to be the most fun for our group is the grouper service, which is from the airport to the beach area. We brought in 4 vehicles, and again, big, broader company. Rather than y'all pilot it and have to go buy 4 brand-new vehicles and have that added expense for what was a pilot, we were able to get 4 vehicles from one of our other sites, bring them down, retrofit them for luggage. We put in TVs and some other things that Tom will get into. But the team has done a really good job of making it friendly to the customers trying to get to the beach or trying to get back to the airport. Then we get a little bit into price. So we broke everything down here at a cost per trip. And then we broke it down by variable costs, fixed cost, wheelchair versus ambulatory. But at the end of the day, the cost is about $51.83 per trip. And again, this is a door-to-door service. The national average right now is running at $64.89, so we're beating it by a little more than $10 an hour. $10 a trip. And we've reduced the cost through some productivity that Tom's going to talk about by about $3 per trip over time. So Tom's going to talk a little bit about some of the community contributions, some of the public outreach that we're doing.
Yeah, so as, even though our core service with PSTA is the Access program and other sponsor programs along with the Access, being a born and raised Pinellas County resident, we contribute in other ways. And during times of hurricanes, or in the case of Lutheran Apartments catching a fire in their electrical room, we help with evacuation to either shelters or hotels and then return them back to their residence. We also worked with PSTA to transport some wheelchair athletes for a national tournament that was held locally in the Tampa Bay area. And we did that for the last 2 years, and actually the local chapter won the title for the last 2 years. Our community month, we did a recent community engagement with the Pinellas County Educational Foundation, where we gathered school supplies and contributed those to the Enterprise Village off Starkey Road. We also have a Safe Wheel program where the setup is that we have drivers identify any rider with an unsafe wheelchair, brake, wheel, whatever. Take a photo of it, send it to management. We sign them up and qualify them for a brand new wheelchair to be delivered to them. And then last, we have a community project starting up soon with the American Cancer Society, what's called Road to Recovery, where we provide transportation to cancer patients for their medical treatments. Software implementation. We were the first location, along with PSTA, to be the beta test site for Spare Labs. Thanks to Brad Miller for taking the leap of faith, because Spare was known as a top-notch microtransit, and this was their experiment to go into paratransit, which has been very successful to date. We have gone from on-time performance of 90% initially to 95% currently average. Efficiency was below 1 trip an hour at 0.85. Now we're averaging 1.05. Last Thursday, we had an efficiency of 1.19, which might not sound like a big deal, but for that day, it was a $5.87 savings. Spare's improving. We're working together to get this off, and Spare has even chosen us to be the center for other transit companies to observe, dispatch, and drivers on how they utilize the Spare application.
So the purpose of TransDev is to provide safe, reliable, and innovative transportation services. And so when it comes to safety, we do all the normal Smith System training. We give everybody 66 hours of training. But also, I'd like to mention that we have a Lytx camera system that we have on all the buses, so that if an operator makes a hard right or hard left, runs over a railroad track, we're able to coach those events before there's an accident rather than just coaching post-accident. You have a very reliable fleet, and part of that is the fact that you have a Blue Seal shop. It's very unusual, it's very impressive. A bunch of master certified technicians with ASE certifications. They're making sure those wheels on the bus go round and round on a regular basis. And then lastly, innovative. Talk a little bit about the grouper. You know, these guys did a great job. They have music playing on the vehicles. They dress the vehicles up. They have TVs on it, get a little revenue from advertisement for PSTA. So we try to do things, some new and innovative stuff. And just Spare here unto itself is very innovative in the fact that it was sort of its first of its kind when it comes to paratransit. Cost savings, we talked a little bit about this, but I just want to speak a little bit about volume. You know, part of the reason that we can provide some cost savings is the fact that we're insuring 18,000 vehicles as part of your insurance program for this project. Rather than you go out and insure 63, we're able to insure over a broader spectrum of vehicles. We make sure that there's a fuel tank on site, so we're not fueling up at the local gas station in order to try to save you some money. We have capital programs on purchasing agreements for all types of parts, all types of tires, the vehicles themselves. So again, that volume brings down costs. And of course, there's just the general overhead. We were able to spread some of that overhead costs over multiple projects rather than have it just on a single project. And like Jolly Trolley, we're sort of right around the corner. I think it took us 4 minutes to get here. So you're always welcome to come give us a visit. And then lastly, looking ahead, we want to be all things to PSTA. If there's something you want us to do for us, do for you, just tell us. We want to raise our hand and say, hey, we can do it. We talked a little bit about all the different work that we do, whether it's airport shuttles or fleet maintenance, AV operations, streetcars. So we want to be as much to y'all as y'all will allow us to be. That's it. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
Let's see here. Back to page 6. You don't have to go back to page 6, but I'm going back to page 6 because you have a breakdown cost per trip. And I'm wondering if you know the cost per trip on the new grouper.
I don't offhand. What is the, you know?
It's an hourly rate.
I know we can get that information for you. We'll have to break it down by the cost.
Yes, I'd like to, I think.
It's an hourly rate on paratransit
Is
as
that-
well, but we tried to break it down by the trip, per trip.
Like you said, the grouper is different than the paratransit and the mobility
No, I know.
stuff here, because it's a cost per hour to pay them.
Yeah, with Access, you can plan your day because the trips are maybe 24 hours in advance. With the grouper, we have drivers stationed at the airport marketing to those riders, hey, would you like to ride for $8? And it's worked out very well. So some use the application and make the trips in advance, but with Access, it's more dependable because those are planned trips even 6 days out. So it's easier to break it down that way. I would say during spring break, your cost per trip will go down because you have a lot of people riding the grouper. Just like Mother's Day for Access, we have a lot of people riding on that day. So maybe Wednesday, when the flights aren't really there, there's fewer trips. But
We can put that information together. We'll get it to
yeah,
James.
and we only staff drivers according to the number of trips, if it's
We
a
can
lot
do
of
a
flights that
cost
day.
on the grouper.
Well, I just am thinking about the $8 a trip charge and what the cost of that trip actually is.
I know.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get to that comparison.
We'll put that together and get it to James.
So I wanted to comment about the grouper too. I used it last weekend, I came in to PIE. It was a real early flight, but I got there sometime around 8 o'clock in the morning and downloaded the app and, you know, looked for a grouper bus, and I'm standing out there. The bus didn't come, but I noticed there's a taxi there. And when I really looked at the app and, you know, it gives you a description like Uber, it's a Ford, you know, whatever, I go, I guess I'm taking a taxi here. So they didn't have the bus there, but they ended up giving me a ride on a taxi. And I guess that, I said, why am I riding in a taxi? He said, well, because the bus doesn't start till 9 o'clock or something like that. And I thought that was a real deal, but I was wondering how the taxi got involved in that, you know.
Well, it's like anything with capacity, right? On areas of time where you're gonna have the least amount of capacity, we don't wanna have a big bus sitting there. But we always wanna have the ability for an individual getting off the plane to have transportation. So that's the point, is to make sure that there's always availability in the actual operation, so you can get from point A to point B. The groupers there set hours where we think we're gonna have the largest volume, where we might have multiple rides at a given time. Again, to sort of reduce costs, because obviously if we did everything by taxi, it would be more expensive.
Oh, sure.
When-
It was a funny feeling because in a way I was like, wow, what a deal. And the other, I'm a board member of PSC. I'm going, well, wait a minute, I should be paying more money for this. So, but what a great service, because I'm telling everybody about Grouper. I was real excited about it to begin with, but it's a real great thing for Clearwater Beach. So thank you for that. Any other questions? Yes.
Thank you. On slide 4, I was trying to keep up, but there's no labels on that particular slide. So your blue is maintenance, your pink is a real project. What was the dark blue again?
So these three, and it's not perfect, but
The blue's a little.
The dark blue,
Yeah.
St. Pete.
this one and this one are our paratransit services.
Paratrain, okay.
And the two green ones are AV, the two red ones are fixed route. This actually has paratransit in it as well.
And the green was what? I'm
The
sorry.
green is autonomous vehicles.
Autonomy. Oh,
Autonomous, wow.
okay.
And then the rest of the blue are fleet maintenance contracts. So we have 21 contracts in the state of Florida where we just do municipal fleets. So the largest, and we do the maintenance on those, I should say. So the largest contract like that is Orlando International Airport. But we have some other smaller municipal fleet maintenance contracts in Florida.
Okay, thank you. And my mom and her twin are frequent users of PSTA Access, so thank you for providing that service. When it comes down to looking at the, looking ahead and for additional services, how often, Brad, do we examine the contract to find out what the possibility of additional services could be? Is that an annual thing that we look at the contract? Al, that may be a.
It's on like a daily. Al, I'm calling Al
Yeah, I was-
daily to, hey, how could we do this new thing that Commissioner Scott or Commissioner Albritton suggested, using TransDev?
That is correct. We look at the contracts once at least at a minimum once a week. And when it comes time to exercise the options, we notify the owner. In this case, we would notify Mr. Bradford that, hey, the contract's about to expire, and then he will let us know what his intent is, whether to renew or to go out.
What year,
And I apologize, Al Burns, your highly motivated procurement director.
what year are we in this contract?
6,
And it's
the
the
main
10,
contract 6.
and it's the 10-year, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 6 out of 10, okay. And I think another reason why we asked for the presentation is because we were in a budget workshop. So we kind of wanted to know what was, the money that we were spending and why we were spending it. And we were given a list of contracts, and of course, TransDev is our largest costing contract. So that's why I asked what the services entailed. How often are we able to move and become more accessible as time goes by? The need is actually there. So thank you, Mr. Burns, for that recommendation. So again, with the presentation, hopefully we'll have additional information when we're actually deciding on looking at the budget. So Other than that, I don't have anything else now, so thank you again so much for the presentation.
So we have one more year on the grouper. I guess it's a pilot program. At that point, we're gonna see how we fared and if it's a good thing, and then, will we eventually take it over, or would we just do another contract?
Well, we can look at it, we could extend with Transdev or, we have two contracts, like you saw, we also have a contract with the cab.
Yeah,
For the early trips. And we're just kind of gonna evaluate it and see what makes sense. Maybe we change the mix of that or do an extension with Transdev.
okay, all right, very good.
May I make a comment about the grouper? This has all started back in March, February. It's a new thing, and we've been looking at trends. Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday, we've noticed that there's earlier flights. People want to be picked up at 4 a.m. for their 6 o'clock flight. Starting tomorrow, we have a 4 a.m. driver at the beach to take these people, because it's always high numbers, it's always families. There's like 4 and 6 at a time. That's when we will change the schedule based on the need.
And of course, you're advertising in all the hotels about this, because I know it's kind of really took off. I mean, the people that know it's there, so I think hopefully when we do a year, we'll look back and say it's a pretty good deal, so, for everybody.
I do have one more question. So, in regards to Commissioner, his question, he was looking for the grouper and he saw a taxi. There are some riders that may not be as app savvy and look at their phone and say, oh, I'm supposed to be in a taxi. So how long was he supposed to stand there before he realized he wasn't waiting on the grouper, but he was in a taxi? How do you handle, Commissioner Albritton's situation?
Yeah, again, when we're there, trust me, nobody will get by. If our driver's there, they'll come at you to pick you up. On the times that we might not have a driver there, the app itself should identify the vehicle that's coming for you. Whether it's a taxi or.
So I called it for someone. They don't have an app on their phone,
Right.
but I made the arrangements for them. I'm thinking that the grouper is there to pick them up. I'm not knowing to look back at my app to look for a taxi. So does the taxi driver get out of the car? Is there any communication at all at the location?
It's
Depending
similar
on the hour,
to when
possibly
my
not.
wife calls me and says, hey, can you book me an Uber? And I have to tell her, okay, this is the license plate, this is the vehicle, it's similar to that.
Yeah,
But they still don't know that they're waiting on a taxi.
And I know if you make a phone call to PSTA to make a reservation on the grouper, we tell you if it's gonna be a taxi or
Okay, so you do tell them. Okay, they didn't tell you were getting in the taxi.
no, but I just downloaded the app, and I was impressed how easy, the app was just almost like an Uber app. I mean, so it was really easy to call it, I didn't make a reservation before I got off the plane. I kind of downloaded it as I was walking through the airport, and then I got out there, it was real early, there was nobody around. And they said 1 minute away. I'm like, wow. So I stood there for about 5 minutes, 4 minutes looking at a taxi. And then I looked, oh, wait a minute, it's a Ford, Fairlane or whatever it was. That must be, yeah, so.
And that was just my question of accessibility. Everybody isn't app savvy. Everybody doesn't have a spouse to call and say,
Yeah,
can you
well,
make that ride
Those are
for
great-
me?
those are
So-
great
What about a
comments.
sign on the sidewalk, a grouper sign, where you go stand?
They have
we
signs.
have that, but maybe we should
Make it bigger.
give some more communication that, well, check your app, it might be a taxi
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
And just to let you know, that for those people coming that aren't tech savvy, our drivers have a tablet, they can make the reservation for them.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have a
and he did know my name when I went up. I guess it's just like Uber,
We'll get you next time.
yeah, no, that's fine, that worked out well for me. Okay,
Those
any
were
other
the
questions?
When you say cost per ride, is that per person or per trip?
Per trip.
So it might be more than one
So
person?
if you have a PCA or you have a family member, that would not count against it. So it's per trip. So you have a certified person that's able to take that trip. It's per trip.
It's usually one person unless they have like a family member or personal care attendant, PCA.
And then do you have an average miles traveled per trip?
I can get it for you. I'll get that.
So if, just so, because we always hear we're gonna get this for you, Brad, we have a meeting next week, right? Could we get answers on all these questions by the next meeting? Would that be possible?
We're gonna try, yeah.
And then going back to the grouper, so you don't have a cost per rider?
Like I said, we can get that for you. We'll have it to James by the end of the day.
And then do you have a breakdown between locals and non-locals that use the service?
That I don't have.
So we don't know who's using it?
Well,
do a
there would be a report in Spare that could probably be downloaded.
So
You're
your
talking
app
about for
doesn't
the
track?
grouper service?
Yeah. When they make the reservation,
They have to put in their local address?
No, actually, it's
Probably a
just a
phone
phone
number.
number.
So there's reports that can be
Yeah, it
pulled
had
to
to be by
show
phone number.
all the different phone numbers by area code.
But
That's helpful.
Tom, you do that your drivers did a survey. Did they ask people where they're from?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I can add that to the list now.
To find out if they're out of town or locals.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And we would have pickup addresses.
Yes.
Yes.
So it could be a hotel or a home, I guess, or
It's typically a hotel.
It's
hotel.
hotels.
Yeah.
So based on that statement, it's probably the vast majority are not locals, like the commissioner going back home. So just going back to your scenario there, so you said the driver would actually take initiative. It sounds like in his case, the driver didn't take any initiative coming out to look for the
The
individual.
driver wasn't there at 8 o'clock.
The driver was in the
Again,
cab.
it's app-based. It tells you which type of vehicle it
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
is.
That was my
I think there was an
mistake.
expectation that, hey, this is gonna be a larger vehicle, and so there was a little disconnect there.
Sure.
We don't have group of vehicles there all the time, because we don't want that larger capacity at a time that there's lower capacity, because we're trying to reduce the cost.
Right.
So it's just, to this young lady's point, it's just a matter of, if you're capable of understanding what you're looking at there, you're in good shape. If you have a struggle with that, it can be a difficulty.
And then, so for example, on Commissioner Albritton's scenario, you paid $8 for that fare.
No,
No, how
I'm
much?
a senior.
You see?
It's $4.
Okay, so he paid $4 for that fare. What did we pay for that fare?
We paid $20-something for the cab ride. On average, or maybe a little bit less than that, $16, I think is our average cab fare that we pay.
Sounds like a great deal for you.
It was a great deal. I gave more than $4 though.
And then just go back to when we look at the on-demand, what is the average mile per trip?
Yeah, I said, I'll make
Sorry,
sure I
it's,
get that to him.
So when, I just wanna make sure I understand exactly how people are using it, right? That's really where I'm trying to get at is, so are they usually going from point A, from home to a destination, whether it's
When it
work,
comes-
hospital, whatever, and
When
then
it comes to
back,
the,
or?
when it comes to the ADA, they can go anywhere they want.
No, I understand, I'm saying like, what's your average rider, right? Are they going,
The average rider's going to work like any commuter. They may be going to a doctor's appointment. Obviously, we have a lot of dialysis trips.
sure,
And then some people are, maybe they're going to the movies for the day. But I'm sorry.
But you have to differentiate between, are you talking about your TransDev ADA disability rights, or are you talking about grouper? Two different things.
are we talking about the
cost per ride.
Because he was doing a grouper ride,
Yeah,
you're talking
that's what
ADA.
you.
Two different things.
Yeah, no, we're back on the other one.
Okay,
So,
I'm like,
just to
because
understand, so
there's
like,
a
so
because I'm the chair for the LCB. So they get, there's grant money and so forth in there that backs up some of that money you were
I'm
asking
just
about.
trying to understand how it's being used. Is it just point to point where I'm going out for the day to work or to the hospital or to the movies and then back? So it's-
Normally, we're picking them up at their house, bringing them to their work, and vice versa, or picking them up, bringing them to dialysis or
Right.
some other medical trip.
Yeah, I would say about 40% medical. You've got your school, children that we take. We have adult daycare. And then we have work, we have Publix. So about 40% is definitely medical.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
To Commissioner Petrell's point, do we have to do what we're expecting at next week's, the questions from today? Is someone noting
Yeah.
those requests?
That'd be me, and I was gonna say, you all have asked some really great questions. We do have that information. I'll go back and watch the recording from today so I can make sure I capture every question,
Okay.
and I'll get with the team. Our spare database keeps all of our client information, all of our trip history, so we can absolutely break out the pickups and the destinations, and I'll make sure I stay on top of that for you.
Okay, so
Can you get that email to us?
Right.
Yeah, and
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll gather that information. I do want to say, and I flew in a couple times to the St. Pete Clearwater Airport as well. And I guess I got lucky because I think I had one of your supervisors out there, like encouraging folks to ride the grouper. I know during high demand, especially when Clearwater hosts Sugar Sand, we kind of, we kind of souped it up a bit. And then we have another one of our partners, Bay Area Metro, if need be, if we think the demand is high and you all will be out
Correct.
delivering a ride that can come in with their cars, their sedans, and serve as a backup. So what I will do is get with our partners after that, because I do want to make sure we should have a presence there. And if the operator is gone, we'll make sure we have a way to kind of connect, not only between Transdev and the grouper, but also Bay Area Metro, to make sure you all know exactly where you got to go. So these were great points, and I think we can drill down on that and do a lot better.
I did notice, as I was walking through the airport,
Mhm.
because I knew I wanted to take grouper, there's signs all the way from, the flight deck all the way to where you gotta go, so.
Yes,
That was not a problem, but it would be good to have somebody maybe
Absolutely.
there. And, the higher volume days or whatever.
right. No, I completely agree, and I think we saw a spike on during Sugar Sand Festival.
Oh, my
We did very
goodness,
well. We'll give a shout out to our Director of Marketing, Amanda Baird, and Bonnie Epstein, who's out on leave right now. Did a great job partnering with the airport, and they were very generous, kind of allowing us to, set up and have brand the grouper a little bit, so our presence is there. But always can do better, always can make an improvement. I want to boast, I want to thank Derek and Christina for flying out of town and being here today. And I'd like to thank Bob Clifford and Carol Haig for accompanying the Jolly Trolley team. I do want to boast before I pass it on to my fellow chief, Ms. Rice, for her presentation. Our partners are great. They probably hear from me a lot, and they put up with me and my ask and my request, but they're super responsive during times of inclement weather. And I won't say the H word. I won't say it. It's like Beetlejuice. I won't say it 3 times in a row. But during inclement weather, if we get demands by the EOC, by the county EOC, and we need more vehicles for mass pickups to take people to shelters, they've never let us down. If we have a request, if there's a client incident, if we miss somebody, and I make the inquiry, they're very super responsive. Ron and Tom, I can't say enough good things in their team. So very pleased. And all of our partners, I apologize for the mix-up today, because I actually do have a meeting with Clearwater Ferry later today. So it's all in here somewhere, but thank you all for being here.
We've got 2 more
And thank
questions
you for your
right here
time.
from Commissioner Reed.
Yes, I'm sorry.
While we got you
Commissioner
here.
Reed.
Yeah,
Go for it.
on the reports, I know being on the LCV, I get a lot of the reports from Transdev and what we're doing. So that may be some of the information you wanna send over, because there were some really good numbers in there. We're meeting again in September, but
Oh, that's a great idea.
those were really good broke down numbers. It shows all the, everything that we're doing, because you guys are, those numbers are impressive.
Good.
And then, also like the rugby tournaments on very short notice.
Mm-hmm,
You made PSTA look amazing.
yes.
And they probably don't know what all you guys pulled out of your hat to make that happen, and it was an international
Yes,
event
second year
that-
in a row for the
Yeah,
national.
but the first year was out of control. I mean, you guys really pulled it out, what they did, and it's kind of nice sometimes, maybe you guys might want to tell them, you know, during this thing, or some of the numbers you did, because that was short notice. They had to get everybody from the airport, everybody had wheelchairs, sometimes multiple wheelchairs, they had all their equipment, they had family members that came in here. It was done, made, and I all the reviews that we got for PSTA was amazing, and TransDev just knocked it out of the park with that.
Thank you.
And, you know, and you were internationally recognized and nationally recognized for that, and PSTA was too. But those numbers might really help them out as far as
Okay.
what I see and what,
Sure.
you know, the numbers I'm talking, you know,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes.
those are great for what you guys do for the, you know, the disabled and so forth on demand, so.
Yeah.
And in the vans, the reviews that came back on what you guys provide in the vehicles was hands down unbelievable, because we do spot checks. LCB goes out, Rob goes out without anybody knowing and walks in and says, hey, I wanna look at the vans, I wanna look at the maintenance, I wanna look at that, and there's never been a problem. And we had some problems a couple years ago with another company that was happening, so we appreciate it. So that's all I got.
Thank you,
Thank you
Commissioner.
very much.
Yeah, and absolutely, I absolutely agree. Thank you for the good work you do chairing our LCB, but absolutely, I think those reports have a lot of good information, so I'll get those as well.
Is there any other questions? Well, thank you all for being here.
Thank you,
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Planning
You
Committee,
all for
appreciate
being
it.
here. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we did one more meeting.
All right, I'm ready to get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Darden Rice. I'm our Chief Planning and Community Affairs Director. And I want to give you a quick update on where we are with the Connected Community Bus Plan. As you all recall, the board voted to pass the Community Bus Plan back in March. And that kicked off a 6-month implementation timeline for us to get ready to make the big switch on October 26th of this year. So we're about 4 months in, and I just wanted to let you guys know about where we are with things. As you know, the goal of the Connected Community Bus Network is how we best can connect individuals and communities to their destinations under constrained resources financially. There's a lot of tools that we use in the planning department to meet these goals, to present to you a clear, consistent, and connected new system. So this is a look at our existing network, which will be in place for a couple of more months. And what is interesting is if you, or at least interesting to me, if you look at our existing map and then go and look at our new map, so I'll do it one more time. This is our existing map, and this is our new map. And it's interesting, the reason why, in large measure, it looks pretty similar is because many of our route changes involve spreading our service out from weekday to cover weekend service. That means we're going to be on a lot of the same roads. Hence, the map is going to largely look very similar. So the before and after is going to look similar. But just to take a step back at the big picture, transit systems across the country are engaging in the effort of bus system redesigns. I mean, of course, every transit agency, we have to do this every 5 years as a part of a comprehensive operations analysis. But some of the largest transit agencies in the country are undertaking big changes, and it's to respond to significant national trends and, by Commissioner McCann, significant trends in work patterns and in travel patterns. And namely, that's the pandemic. Up until 2020, the the changes that we would see with work patterns and traffic were very gradual, but after the pandemic, we saw that so many people work from home. Even now, 1 in 5 people work remotely, and we see that 70% of the current job seekers are looking for flexibility with working arrangements. So this really is reflected in the changes that we made to the network to function, to look at how our whole system functions as a network and how we can provide better transfers, better connections, simpler service by combining, splitting, and simplifying routes while we spread out the service to cover better coverage on the weekends. Some of the other themes to these changes, and some of this I hope should sound pretty familiar by now, but we're also looking at how we can better serve the tourism demand. So the whole conversation we just had about the grouper, fine example there. Of course, as always, we look at ways to strategically capitalize on our core routes, and that's building off of the Sunrunner, building off of the 4, the 18, the 52. As you all know, there's 2 different approaches to bus system redesign. It's core versus coverage. We have a hybrid network where we really have protected and built upon our core network, but it's also it's also supported by ancillary routes that help build that. And in the areas where we have really, really low ridership, we're covering those areas with on-demand service, not serving it with a bus route or a 40-foot bus. Spark is our highlight service that's timed with part of this new network redesign. It is a premium rapid service. We like to call it our Sunrunner Lite, our BRT Lite. It starts on October 27th. It connects Eckerd College at one end, and there's 18 stops that connect it to Grand Central Station. Of course, it's not BRT, there's no bus and turn lane, but there's lots of ways for us to achieve premium service with higher frequency, TSP, traffic signal prioritization, to help get people to where they're going more quickly. And you see here, it's a high frequency service, 7 days a week. So inReach, you've heard us talk a lot about outreach, but the inReach is very important to you. So as soon as the board had voted to pass this back in March, we immediately got to work. Our redesign efforts are intensive. It requires the work of every single department at PSTA, from planning to operations to facilities to marketing, finance. It's all hands on deck. We have weekly project status meetings minimally, and that is not to say just all of the incredible work each department is doing to get ready for the switchover. We have been leading the charge getting our planning staff over tabling in the driver's lounge to work with our bus operators. Big shout out to Lucian and Nicole and Devin, who you heard earlier. We were all out there this morning at 4 a.m., which is why I'm a little tongue-tied. I wish I could tell you that I was out singing karaoke, but no, we were here bright and early at 4 a.m. But this is such an important part of the work that we do, because talking and listening to our bus operators is so key to getting the type of feedback that we need to know to make the system even better. We're also training our CSRs and working closely with our union. Our public outreach efforts, from just as part of a continual effort, but also especially with this network redesign, it's outreach, outreach, outreach. We are tabling at our transit centers, at our high ridership stops. We have a pretty good idea of which areas are going to experience the most change, where we need to have more people staffed at stops and on buses to be there to answer questions for the public. I don't use this term pejoratively, but we do know that we're gonna need to do some hand-holding with some of our writers, and we're ready and happy to do that. Doing a lot of outreach to schools, community events, and of course, local government meetings. And we're building on our progress and looking ahead. So our system is really the nerve system and the basis and the foundation of other incredible regional premium service work that we do. So some of this work I just wanted to touch upon, and a lot of this has come from the direction that we get from you, our board of directors. But we're looking at one of our next big projects will be the Alt 19 premium transit service from Grand Central Station up to Clearwater. When the Howard Franklin Bridge will be completed near the end of the year, we're going to look at ways to utilize those new express lanes to run premium bus service from Pinellas County to Tampa International Airport. So that's going to be an opportunity to rethink, if not completely reinvent, our whole 300X service to get people to the airport. Advantage US 19 North, might have heard a little bit about this over in Forward Pinellas, but that is where we're focusing on the North County. We know that a lot of people now are moving to Pasco County. They live there, but they're working in Pinellas County. East Bay Roosevelt, another major investment corridor. The historic gas plant multimodal center, of course, we lost a little bit of momentum on that, we know why, but still there's 86 acres of redevelopment in downtown St. Pete. With or without a new baseball stadium, we know that's going to be a prime area for a potential multimodal hub. And lastly, of course, waterborne transit. PSTA is running very popular, successful services from connecting Clearwater Beach to downtown Clearwater, now Dunedin. And we are also going to be launching, hopefully soon, we're taking over the Cross Bay Ferry service, connecting people from St. Pete to Tampa. These are popular services that people want for regional connections, and this will be a way to continue to build our regional profile and regional opportunities to connect. Lastly, I want to say that, as you all know, there have been changes at the state level regarding bus and turn lanes, but there's lots of ways that we can continue to work on premium transit and give people a chance to have that really high frequency ability to get around that does not depend just solely on that particular tactic. Oops. So lastly, we're continuing our outreach. So if you get any questions or if you have any ideas of places that you would like us to be, or a place that you're not sure if we're already there, or you think we should cover it, any ideas for some meetings we need to be aware of, public events, organizations we should reach out to, please let us know. Also, for any questions that you get from your constituents, whether on social media, a call to your office, an email, pass it on to us. We'll help you answer that. We'll copy you on the response, and we're here to support you, and because it's all a team effort. And I really appreciate it because your feedback and engagement is how we get better every day. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Doran. Any questions? Yes.
All right, well, thank you, Darden, for the presentation, and I do have a couple. Excited about Spark. I know the Edgar College students have been speaking about that since 2019, so they're excited. When is the ribbon cutting for that, if it begins?
Oh, thank you. It's Monday, October 27th. It will be at Eckerd College, and I don't recall the time right off the top of my head, but I think it's probably going to be 10 or 11 a.m.
Okay, so I definitely need to have that information because the executive director of the Skyway Marina District hasn't really been involved in the Spark project.
Yeah.
And so I want to make sure that we include
Absolutely.
the Skyway Marina District executive director on that, and just in case you haven't figured it out, it's in my district. So I'm extremely excited with working with the Edgar College students for that. On your outreach, I see that you had SBC, USF, and Edgar College. What about PCC?
P-TECH? Yes, we have been reaching out to P-TECH. In fact, P-TECH wrote a letter of support of the community bus plan when the board voted on it, and I'm sure that we will be engaging them and inviting them to be there too.
Okay, cause I just didn't see it on the slide, and they don't take, they wanna be known as PTC now, we're no
Yeah.
longer P-TECH, so.
Oh, thank you,
So
thank you, I
just-
was not aware, okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure, cause it wasn't on, the slide for that. Also, we are increasing traffic to the Grand Central Station, especially with the new Spark, route. Have we had any additional conversation as to safety measures, as to having a conversation with us at the COC as to how we want to handle some of the issues of those that are already around at the Grand Central Station? Because we're not gonna be able to avoid it, we're gonna have to have that discussion.
So we work hand in glove with our security team. Do you mean the number of buses coming in and out? Are you talking
No,
about
we've gotten a lot of
Routes.
requests as
issues?
PSTA about trash, about, our unhoused residents that we're trying to help on the homeless side.
Mhm.
But that is our Grand Central Station. We've
Yeah.
been approached by the apartments next door, we've been approached by the Y, and they're wanting to know, what are we going to do? And so I wanna make sure that we don't lose sight
Okay.
and that we're gonna have to continue to have that conversation. Now we're gonna have students that are gonna be dropped off there, and they're gonna have the same safety issues. And so I wanna make sure we continue to have the dialogue with HLA
Mhm.
so that we can together better find some of the services that we can provide to help those coming in as well as those that find refuge there at the station. Okay?
Point well taken, thank you.
Thank you. My next question is, you mentioned the Cross Bay Ferry. Do you have an update on that, Vernon?
We are out to bid right now, and proposals are due next Thursday,
Okay,
if you're interested,
yes.
turning in a proposal.
Okay, no, I'm not interested. I'm just wanting to
Yeah.
get an update. Not interested at all. But okay, well, those are my questions. Thank you, Darden, I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Chair.
Any other questions? Thank you,
All right.
Jordan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for committee members with any new business to bring before the committee. I have something. Oh, you, go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if it's new business, but it's something that I learned this week that I'm really glad to know. I had a constituent reach out, because she's a senior, and she wanted to apply for the discount, but you can't do it online. So I was gracefully informed that PSTA was awarded
$1 million.
$1 million to purchase the software so that now a senior or someone that's transportationally disadvantaged will now be able to upload their ID online to apply for the senior discount, which I think is
Nice,
fantastic
yeah.
because I have a lot of seniors in my family that actually utilize that, but they had to all do it in person. So that's just something that I thought was just fantastic of a new service that we're gonna be able to offer as PSTA.
Very good.
Yay, just wanted to give that, so if anybody else asks you about it, it's coming, when did you say, Debbie?
Next year.
I can speak to that.
Oh,
Oh,
Also-
yes, yours, this is
Yes,
the
let's say,
gentleman's
I'll say a few words. Jacob Lebitka, planning manager. I'm on the SMART project team. So we are integrating as a pilot with login.gov initially for senior and veteran fare enrollment. And then we hope after that phase to expand it to other fare categories. They actually have a phase 2 funding opportunity coming out next year we hope to apply for. So we anticipate probably within the next 12 months or so to where we would launch that initial pilot of the login.gov fare enrollment integration.
and that's what you're calling it, the SMART project?
We are going to be working closely with marketing to come up with a different name because SMART's just the name of the grant
The grant?
opportunity.
Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for that.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob.
So smart.
Commissioner Albritton, if I could ask a related question, when you rode the Grouper taxi cab, did you have to show your ID to get the senior discount?
No, I guess I look my age.
That was a loaded
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I do have something to add. This is not new business to bring before the committee, but I wanted everybody to know that Friday, something I've been waiting 10 years for, the groundbreaking of an intermodal center in Clearwater. It's at 2 p.m. The address is 710 Court Street. And I hope we can get a lot of PSTA board members out there because it's a good thing, and I just can't wait to see the ground.
You've worked very hard for that.
Yeah, it's turned into an intermodal center there, so very, very, just wanted to bring that up to everybody. So,
Congratulations.
I just wanted to say I can't make it because there'll be a Florida Transportation Commission meeting Thursday and Friday that I'll be attending. And we're gonna go to TransDev. Is it? No, not TransDev. We're gonna go to SunTrax.
Suntrack, oh, okay.
And then we'll have meetings too, but I won't be able to make that, sorry.
all right.
But congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I think
I'll be there.
our chair
I
will be there, and then I know at least we've invited the entire county commission, but I know Commissioner Scott, who's the chair of the county commission, he'll make some comments too. He'll be there.
Good,
Yeah.
good, excellent. All right, looking forward to it. Okay, our next meeting is September 24th at 10:30, and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Are you back from all your travels?
I am.